Awake living into uncharted territory together, accelerating your wellness path, plus your interconnectivity at the same time.
It's not your grandma's or your Veda, but it kind of is.
It's the Yoga Healer Real Life Show with Kate Stillman.
Hello, Yoga Healer podcast listeners. Today's episode is for wellness pros and yoga teachers. So if you're not that, it might not be as applicable, and just come back on Monday for the Real Life Show. But if that is you, today's episode is about how to make past career investments work for you. And I did a quick recording with Grace Edison. We're now having a weekly show for wellness pros in the Changemaker Challenge Facebook forum. If you're not in there yet, the way to get in there is to go to yogahealthcoaching.com/challenge. That's yogahealthcoaching.com/challenge. And it's really a cool process. We've had rave reviews on the challenge itself. But we're also airing now 3 shows a week. We're testing it out and seeing how it goes. And so far it's been a blast for us, and it's been fun for the challenge members. So we're going to keep doing that as long as it's working. Monday show is with Grace and Carly Banks, and they talk about what's going on in Changemaker careers. On Wednesday, me and Grace talk about the issues that come up with people in the Changemaker Challenge itself. And on Fridays, Carly interviews a yoga health coach on how they're gaining career clarity. So if you're not in there, you're welcome to join us. There's a concept in nature we're all familiar with, which is you plant seeds and some of them sprout and grow into the plants of the seed that you planted. And others may be latent for a while. So some might not sprout for years. You see, there's some seeds that take like 100 years to sprout. That's how it is often with investing. Like there's certain things we can do to get our seeds to sprout sooner, to get to the results that we're wanting sooner in life. And then there's some degree that we don't have control. Like there's a level of let the universe align. And so it's easier to take right action so that the stars align and things line up, and all of a sudden things happen with a lot of ease. And that's, I think all that is true. And there's ways that we can cause things to line up. I want to actually read, I don't usually read biblical quotes, but I do enjoy ancient wisdom traditions of any variety. So this is from Christianity. This is from James 1:2-4. And this is the teaching. Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of any kind, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work, so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. And I've just got to say, on my path, I mean, it's fascinating right now. I've just had a time of massive alignment. Like things are like really coming together on the Yoga Healer business team. It's phenomenal. Like the people we have, the people that stayed, the new people that have come in, how we're clicking in and making things happen. It truly is beyond my wildest dreams. And for many of you who've been listening to the show this year, you know, like it has not been easy. When we know that like the deep desire of what we want to do is aligned, and we accept our career as our spiritual journey, we accept that. We accept that like we are going to have strong desires to do things, and they're going to bring us into a fierce learning path. And there's going to be times when we're going to want to give up. And there's going to be times when we're not going to understand why it's so hard. And there's going to be times when it looks so much easier for everyone else. And if we kind of get that there's lessons to be learned here, LLs, lessons learned. There's lessons to be learned here before we get to experience an accomplishment, before they turn into something that we can turn into an accomplishment. If we start to get that on a very deep level, we become so much less frustrated with the hard times. We become so much less frustrated with seeing the things that we've invested in before not working. And what happens, and you'll hear us talk, Grace and I talk in this episode today about how to let those things come to work. Often there's, you know, what I find with most wellness pros is they haven't really learned a leverageable business model that works with their lifestyle. And we are all, I mean, we're lifestyle junkies. Hell, holistic wellness pros are, I mean, for me, it's riding bikes and it's surfing and whitewater paddleboarding and spending a lot of time outside and having plenty of time to like hang with my kid and bike to the school where my kid is and pick her up and come home and feed her some food and hang out and do fun, you know, like that. The lifestyle component is huge. So we need, for those of us who feel really pulled to being successful, or at least experiencing the next level of success. And we see that it's been possible for others. And we decide to take this on as our spiritual journey, right? And this is a pivot and a lot of people I talk to, they haven't made this pivot yet. They see their spiritual practice as different than their holistic career journey. And I don't. And so I take the lessons that come up in life, that come up in work, that come up in me trying to get us as a team to where I sense we can go. And for some of us, we're just self-employed. We don't have a team. And it's you trying to get you to where you want to go. And if we decide to have the mindset and the perspective that the issues that come up, that the challenges, the difficulties, the boulders in our path are indeed the path itself, right? That there's something there to work with. There's something there that needs this quality of perseverance. And you might need new tools. You might need a better business model. We'll talk about that in a minute. If we start to get that, it changes everything. And we're able to have the perseverance. And when that happens, eventually we have success. I was hanging with Indy and her friend after school yesterday, and they were doing handstands into bridge, and they were using a beanbag to land their bridges. And her friend, who isn't in gymnastics training 12 hours a week like Indigo is, was like, "Oh, I'm failing. This is a failure." And I heard the word like fail like 4 times in a minute. I was like, okay, do we know what fail means? And they're like looking at me like, why? Oh my God, because they're 10. Their friend's 10. Indy's almost 10. So I get that kind of the eye roll. I'm like, fails, first attempts in learning. Failure is freaking awesome. Like, we want to fail. If we want to get somewhere we're not currently, if we want to master something we haven't mastered yet, we want to set ourselves up for multiple failures really fast. We want to learn from each one of those failures and get better and better and better and better at failing and learning and applying. And soon when that happens over time, we become incredibly successful, and we start to have a life that is indeed beyond our wildest dreams. And we start to be able to do things with our body, with our time, with our energy, with our dharma that are beyond our wildest dreams because we persevered. All right, on to how to make the best of past career investments, how to make those investments work for you. And you can, come into the challenge, ask me questions in there. That's really what the challenge is for. It gives us a forum. It gives us a place to have this conversation. On with the show.
We're live now.
We are live now.
Hello.
Hi, Changemakers. Go Changemakers.
So good morning, everybody. I'm here this morning with Kate, and we're going to talk about, past investments, how to make past investments work for us. And I often hear from people on the calls that they have invested in themselves, and it wasn't, they didn't find the right business model. So Kate's going to talk a bit about how to leverage a strategy in order to propel yourself forward in 2018.
Yeah. So this is the thing. Like, honestly, when I look back at all of the investments I've made in career training, whether that was yoga teacher training or Ayurvedic practitioner training, or how to grow an email list training, or how to do Facebook ads training, or how, and it just, how to have a virtual assistant training, how to have a team training, how to have systems and processes training, it goes on and on and on. Often when, really what I find, especially for most people in Changemaker, is that they often don't have the right strategy. And it's hard. That's hard because then you have a lot of little bits and pieces of information, and you can spend a lot of time. You can invest a lot of your time trying to make a lot of different things work, and you'll find some degree of success. Things might work to give you a decent return, but nothing is scaling, right? You don't get to this point where you have a solid strategy, a solid plan, and then all those little bits and pieces of training that are really coming together and starting to enable more of, what, in the marketing world, they'll call the 10X, where you're actually, say you're making $20,000 a year, where you actually can use the same plan to make $200,000 a year. And so, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing, is that I think that when we have all these little bits and pieces, and I hear that from people all the time, like all these different trainings, and they know a ton, and that, but just not being able to put it into a solid strategy in order to make a good income.
Yeah, yeah. And part of that is starting to get that, like, nothing that you've is like everything you've done will help you.
Yeah.
So it's like don't look at it as a failure. Don't look at it as like, oh, nothing, that it's maybe not giving you what you want. But when you have the right, and that's really, it's like that whole plan year 2018. We'll put the replay link under this video. But the whole point of that webinar I did last week was like, you need to like, there's more or less, I really see it this way. Like, there's more or less one strategy right now for most wellness pros who want to have a lovely lifestyle.
Yeah.
It's like, there's a lot of things you can do to make an impact and an income, but where's the leverage for your people to get to results? And where's the leverage for you to have the kind of day-to-day lifestyle that you want to have? Mm-hmm. And most of us are female, which means we either have children or grandchildren, just the majority, not everybody. Right. And even if that's the case, like it's like our career is sort of like mixed in with a lot of other things going on, like making food for everyone and keeping the laundry clean and getting places on time. And that, like, it's not just like, yeah, you get to clock in and have a 40-hour work week and clock out and have dinner on the table when you get back. Like, I totally, so we have that part. And then we also on the, for the people in here, like, we're holistic wellness pros. So we also have a very deep sense of obligations with practice. And I mean that in a very positive and a high sense. It's like, I feel obligated to take really good care of myself for my clients. I feel obligated to like sit my ass on the cushion, and like plug in.
Walk the talk.
Yeah. And so that takes a chunk of lifestyle. Like, that's a chunk of time as well. And so when we get like the career model has to work for all of these factors, right? So then we have very little time to waste trying a lot of different things.
Yeah.
And seeing if this is going to work and seeing if that's going to work and seeing if that over there is going to work and not having, really, if in a nutshell, if you do not have a big ticket item and you can't sell a big ticket item that really helps people, A, get to where they want to go, and B, have a phenomenal time on the ride, then you have the wrong model. Mm-hmm. And that means all those other little trainings and things that you've done, nothing's going to hit what they call traction. Where now, like, traction is when things line up and then you can start to scale.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you talked a lot about that in the webinar, and it was awesome. So I recommend everybody who's in here, if you haven't seen the webinar yet, go in, watch that, and then let's talk. Let's have a conversation. So,
well, actually, we have these new I made this new thing for you guys to actually, it was a new form with the questions I want you guys to ask. Mm-hmm. And it's this, and I'll put it right in the chat window, but it's that plan your 2018, that form, because in that, I designed that form to get you guys to ask yourselves the harder questions. Because until you start thinking like me, I'm like, good luck. Until you start, and you guys, I didn't invent this whole idea or whatever. I just like clued into it pretty early. I was heavily coached, heavily invested in career training a decade ago, and it's paying off big time. And it paid off then, and it continues to pay off year after year. It's not a new business model. We're just getting better and better at helping people implement it faster and in a more unique way to you. It's like, anyone listening, you're different than me. You're different than Grace. Like, Grace has a lot of different skills I don't have. I have some skills that Grace doesn't have. So it's like, whatever this big ticket item is, like, there's got to be a baseline to get people to results. And then there's a lot of fun things you can do to make the journey a little more unique and a little more true to you as as the chief engineer on one side and like in the star of the show on the other. And those of you who aren't stars, more, you can maybe be a little bit more of a creator, a mechanic of how you're going to create an experience and then refine it so that it gets better and better. And now, one thing that, Grace, we haven't talked about yet is
We're going to take a short break, and then we'll be back with the second half of the interview after a quick word from our sponsor. See you on the other side.
If you are a yoga teacher or wellness pro, I have a question for you. Do you want to heed the call of a bigger dharma? Do you get in cycles where you don't know where to focus next? Do you want to extend your reach, your clout, your influence, your authority, but don't know where to point your attention to make that happen? If so, you are not alone. In fact, Grace Edison, a yoga health coach, and I have just kicked off the Changemaker Challenge. It's a free 10-day course for you to heed the call of your bigger dharma. When you sign up at yogahealthcoaching.com/challenge, you'll get the challenge step by step through a series of 15-minute videos and 15-minute action steps over the course of 10 days. Yes, you need to put in 15 minutes a day, and it will align your focus to heed the call of your bigger dharma. The buzz in the challenge is contagious. You'll connect with other change makers and get direct feedback on our Facebook forum. Sign up for the Changemaker Challenge at yogahealthcoaching.com/challenge. CHALLENGE. It's free. It's getting rave reviews. Get direction on the path to heeding the call of a bigger dharma. Again, go to yogahealthcoaching.com/challenge. It's free. It's great, and only for a limited time.
and better. And now, one thing that, Grace, we haven't talked about yet is, like, say you have this big ticket item. There's like, say someone listening here is like, they've actually invested in some good sales training.
Yeah.
What percentage of people that you've talked to and have a career percentage, would you say like less than 5%?
Yeah.
That's my guess too. Is less than 5. Like, either you already had a job in sales, or you're kind of like me, like, where you're natural. Like, some of us are very natural in sales. Like, we like talking about, we're very anyone who has done their DISC score and is high in influencing, like, that'll help. And a lot of you are strong in influencing. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say DISC. So DISC is a personality quiz, and you guys should look it up. Just wanted to.
Yeah, we'll put a link to a free one in here so you guys can see your DISC scores, because that can help too. Actually, when you talk to Grace, bring your DISC scores, because that'll help us a lot. Because say you're really high S and C, you're going to be really, you're going to use things a little bit differently than if you're high D and I. It can really help. And, these are things like, I want you all to feel like, wow, you know probably a lot about yourself. You've learned a lot about how to help people. Many of you have been helping people for decades, right? So you have a lot. You've invested a lot. That's all like the ace in your back pocket. Now, if you haven't invested in certain things, like having a business model that works, understanding that sales is part of it, understanding that, there's a few things in there, but let's just pull out the sales one, because I know we're trying to keep these short. Then that's a piece of training that you absolutely are going to need in order to scale. Like, you don't get certain ones of these, you don't actually get around. There's no not needing to figure out how to do that. And that's why in yoga health coaching, we make sure that people get amazing at that. And it takes some months. It's not like, for some people it's pretty fast. And for other people, it's like freaking, it's like, like getting that guy into a back bend who just can't bend backward. It's like, you just got to keep practicing, keep getting feedback, get a little more supple. And then all of a sudden it clicks and it's like, oh yeah, I can.
But don't write yourself off is the thing that I really want to like focus in on here, is like, it's a skill. And so what Kate's saying about all of these different aspects of your business is it's a skill. It's something that you learn, and you want to learn from the right person, right? Like, you want to learn from someone who's done it. And that is, that. Yeah. Oh,
and you do want to be in a group who's doing the same thing. I mean, I think that's the thing. It's like, and honestly, most of you haven't, probably most of you have not invested to the degree that can create a scalable, leverageable lifestyle business. You just haven't. And so you may have like thrown a little money here and there and kind of committed a little here and there, but you haven't gone for it. And you haven't really invested in the business side, in the sales side, and, in the having a group of people that's doing the same thing, who's also equally invested and more or less hell-bent on results. Because if you don't have that, again, like good luck. Like I just wish I didn't piecemeal it together for so long, because I did. I mean, when I go back, I'm like, I could have been a contender, you know? I mean, I could have been so much, it could have been way faster if I had thrown down earlier, got myself in the right group with the right people, going in the direction that I wanted to go, you know, filling in these skill sets earlier on and getting it. Because even now I'm like, oh my gosh, like what we've just done to yoga health coaching to make it so much more efficient and fast and easy to get to implementing the career model, implementing the sales skills, like all that. Like I'm like in the process right now of like piecemeal rebuilding it. And I just finished Q1 and it's amazing. I'm like, oh my gosh, these people are so freaking lucky, because there's so much condensed, practiced wisdom in there from like figuring out from, you know, 100 people before of like what worked, what didn't work, what can we take out, because that's going to distract you and it's not going to get you exactly what you need next in order to start to scale.
Right.
Yeah. Sweet.
Awesome.
Fun to chat.
Thank you.
Thanks, Grace.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We'll put those links in.
Yeah, we'll put those links in. We'll do disc, replay, and then the new plan your 2018 career with Grace. I highly recommend doing those. You know, you don't want to do a bunch of career planning and have the wrong plan, you guys. I mean, it's got to include your lifestyle. It's got to include the missing skills that actually enable a much greater degree. Like I don't run around town, you know, like there's like, get rid of the doing too many things and just do a few things really well. And your people will thank you for just taking the time to figure out how to run your career better. Honestly.
Yeah. Amen. A woman.
A woman. All right.
Okay.
If you guys have questions, put them in the chat. Bye.
Okay, if you want to have a more scalable lifestyle designed business model, you should watch the free webinar I recorded. I got rave reviews on this, like people said it was life-changing. So if you're looking for, and you get that there's things to learn so that you can have the kind of lifestyle you want and have the kind of impact you want, this webinar is spot on. yogahealer.com/plan your 2018. Pretend that's all one word. Pretend that is a word. Plan your 2018. yogahealer.com/plan your 2018. You will not be disappointed. It's not what you think. I really talk about when you build a plan around bad strategy and how to plan a plan around good strategy. So schedule an hour for yourself and watch it, and watch and learn, baby. Watch and learn. All right. Talk to you soon.
Yoga Healer Real Life Show with Kate Stillman. Yoga Healer.